In this video, we're going to learn how to draw a symmetrical dragonfly and learn all about the importance of symmetry in art. The materials you'll need are a pencil and eraser, white paper, preferably copy paper because it's nice and thin, colored construction paper, Sharpie or black marker, whatever you would like to color with, and scissors and a glue stick. So what is symmetry? Something is symmetrical when it is the same on both sides. A shape has symmetry if a central dividing line can be drawn on it to show that both sides of the shape are exactly the same. Once you know this simple definition, you'll begin to see symmetrical creations everywhere, both in nature and in art. So, for example, take a look at this leaf on the right side. When you can divide it in half and both sides are the same, that is symmetrical. But there can also be leaf patterns that are asymmetrical, meaning if you divide it in half, they are not the same on both sides. Symmetry in art is when the elements of a painting, drawing, or sculpture balance each other out. Designs most pleasing to the human eye are often symmetrical. You may not realize it, but your brain is busy working to seek out symmetry when you look at art. There are several reasons for this. The first is that we're just hardwired to look for it. Our ancient ancestors may not have had a name for it, but they knew that their own bodies were basically symmetrical. For example, look at your face in the mirror and imagine a line straight down the middle. You'll see both sides of your face are symmetrical. The second reason why symmetry in art is such a big deal has to do with the way our brains process information. One example is when we're taught to read and write. We start from left to right. So your I can use symmetry and the elements of art, line, shape, and color to draw a dragonfly. So to begin, you're going to want a white piece of paper and a pencil with an eraser. Preferably, like I said at the beginning of the video, you're going to want printer paper because it's nice and thin, which is exactly what we want for this lesson. Fold it in half and give it a nice good crease. Once you've done that, we're going to begin just drawing simple shapes for our dragonfly's head and body. So I'm going to create like a small circle ovalish shape for his head and then create a little oval that touches that for his eyes. Now I'm going to create one more oval that's just a little bit bigger than the head, and then I'm going to draw a long stretched out oval for part of his body. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I'm going to draw it with more of a diagonal line that goes to more of a point towards the bottom of my paper. Then I'm going to trace over these multiple times because I really want them to be dark. So when I fold it in half to trace, I can see these lines as well as the graphite will rub off on the paper. We are now going to focus on our wings. So again, we're just using lines to create our wings. So I'm going to draw almost a straight line that kind of curves around. And then I'm going to create a diagonal line that goes back and touches the bottom of that oval. So you guys can kind of play with your lines and shapes to get your wings the way that you would like them to look. I have it go almost to the edge of my paper so that they're nice and big. I'm going to use the same technique to draw the littler wing at the bottom, but I'm going to connect it to that top wing. So I'm going to draw a straight line, then curve it around. And then I want to draw one more diagonal that goes back and touches that same second small oval. So now I'm starting to get my second wing. Now you can kind of go back and erase and finesse them to look exactly how you want them. Now again, once you have them drawn in the way you think you like them, go back again and just trace them again to really make those lines nice and dark. Now, if any time I go too fast, just go ahead and pause this video. Now you're going to want to fold your paper again in half the other way, and now you can see a little bit of where those lines are. Just rub your fingers on them, and that's going to kind of rub that graphite onto the other side of the paper to show it. Then look closely and you'll be able to see where you trace those lines. And again, you're going to press pretty hard with your pencil, going over and over while you create this imprint from the lines that you just drew. So go back, look at those lines, and just keep tracing them. Now you can be kind of sloppy because this is going to be the back of your paper, so you're not really going to see these. This is just for those pencil lines to show up, so when we open our paper, you can see your dragonfly. So you're creating one half mirrored image, and when you open it, they're going to be the same on both sides. Voila! And now you're creating your symmetrical dragonfly insects. So then you're going to just go back in with your pencil yet again and now trace those lines that you can see from your rubbing and tracing. So they're nice and dark and match the other side. Next, go back with your Sharpie or black marker and begin tracing all of those lines that you just drew. Once you've created your symmetrical dragonfly, we're going to add a few decorative elements to both his body and his wings. Again, just using a series of shapes and lines. So you can create any design in his body and wings that you'd like, or copy me. I'm just going to mimic the lines in his body and then create a series of straight lines and diagonals in his wings. So again, you can create any pattern, any design you would like. Just remember, once you've finished it, you need to trace over the lines so they're nice and dark. Because again, we are going to create symmetry in our dragonfly and flip over our paper and trace these lines so that they are exactly the same on both sides. Now go ahead and grab that Sharpie or black marker and begin tracing those lines. Now that you've finished with all of your drawing steps, you are ready for color. So I like to use a combination of both markers and colored pencils, but you use whatever you have at home that you want to use. Maybe it's crayons. Just remember, as you are coloring, think of trying to color both sides pretty similar, so therefore you are keeping in mind your key concept of symmetry today. When you're finished coloring, grab your scissors and cut out your dragonfly as carefully as possible. Next, we're going to draw our big symmetrical leaf. So grab a piece of green construction paper, any paper you have, in half long ways or hot dog style, and draw one big curved line that goes from one edge of the paper to the other edge. Next, grab your scissors and cut out your leaf. Next, I like to use a variety of materials to create visual interest and details to my leaf. So this part is completely up to you as the artist. Now remember, as we discussed at the beginning, leaves can be symmetrical or asymmetrical depending on what kind of pattern you would like to give it. So draw a line straight down the center, and then to draw the veins you can use a series of diagonal lines. I'm going to use markers, crayons, and colored pencils. You use whatever you have at home and make your leaf beautiful. Once you are finished adding details to your leaf, go ahead and glue on your symmetrical dragonfly. Well done, artists!